Many of you have raised questions about the CTO call audio that I previously discussed on this channel, so I want to address those concerns with additional context. First, it's important to clarify that this recording is publicly available online. It is not exclusive material, and nothing has been altered, edited, or artificially enhanced to create sounds that were not already present in the original recording. While the standard hold music plays throughout much of the call, careful listening reveals what appears to be a tense and chaotic situation unfolding in the background. There are voices and sounds that many listeners have found noteworthy, prompting further discussion and analysis. Again, no additional audio has been added. The recording you're hearing is the original public recording. Now, there has been an important development that allows us to hear the conversation more clearly. The call was recorded in stereo, which means the dispatcher's voice and the voices coming from the boat were captured on separate audio channels. The dispatcher can primarily be heard through one channel, while the young men aboard the boat are heard through the other. By isolating those channels, I simply muted the dispatcher's side of the recording. This wasn't done to change the audio or manipulate the conversation in any way. It was done solely to reduce distractions and allow listeners to focus more clearly on the background voices that were already present in the original recording. If you plan to listen to this audio yourself, I strongly recommend using a good pair of headphones. Headphones make it much easier to distinguish the individual voices and subtle background sounds that may be difficult to hear through standard phone or laptop speakers. As always, I encourage everyone to listen carefully, consider the recording in its full context, and draw their own conclusions based on what they hear. Before we continue, if you appreciate evidence-based reporting that focuses on verified information rather than rumors, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We follow every major development in the Nolan Wells case, examine newly released documents, audio recordings, and public records, and present them with as much context and balance as possible. If that's the kind of true crime coverage you value, click subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates as this investigation continues to unfold.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the fuck up! What'd you say? Hey. It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now. I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that. I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on here. It got ripped off. Reach me at 2. What? Yeah, everybody's off the way. What? No, we do not need that. Let me go look. Will, look. North. All right, are you ready? North 30 degrees, but 46.72. Sorry, look. What do I need to send you? Yeah, what? No, we do not have the VHF radio. Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79. Yes, we were at Horn Island. Yes. If we were sinking, yes. No, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water. I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes. You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Launch. No, there's no children. Hey, Florida. Drop in the water. Try to jump in and pull the plug while you're going. Hold on. Take it out of gear. Take it out of gear. Hello. Take it out of gear. Okay, what's going on? What's up? There is 0 adults on board. No. Nobody here is over the age of 21. Hello? Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat. Like 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we have life jackets available. A Triton, 22 foot offshore, 22 foot Triton offshore sea flight hull. Okay, thank you.
To help bring more clarity to this situation, I reached out to attorney Ben Crump, as well as Miss Christine, to share my concerns about the recording. My hope is that the original audio can be reviewed by a qualified forensic audio expert, someone with the technical expertise to analyze the recording using professional enhancement and voice isolation techniques. An independent forensic analysis could help determine, with much greater confidence, exactly what is being said in the background and whether any important details can be verified. Rather than relying on speculation or differing interpretations, a professional examination of the original, uncompressed recording could provide a clearer and more objective understanding of the audio. At this point, I am not drawing any conclusions about what the recording contains. However, based on what can be heard, there does appear to be something in the background that warrants closer examination. Whether those sounds ultimately prove to be significant is something that should be determined through a proper forensic audio analysis, not through guesswork or assumptions.
Said my buddy Bart drove his boat up next to ours after he pulled us out away from the island, and then he towed us a little more while we were trying to get the motor figured out.
What'd you say?
Up to this point, Bart Edmiston had barely been mentioned in public discussions surrounding the Nolan Wells case. That changed when Warren brought his name up during his interview on Officer Tatum's show, placing him into a conversation where he had previously received very little attention. Bart Edmiston is 21 years old. When questions first surfaced about whether he had attended the pool party connected to the events leading up to Nolan's disappearance, he publicly addressed the speculation. His response was straightforward. He said that Nolan had been a friend of his, and that, like everyone else seeking answers, he wanted the truth to come out. He also clarified that he had been living in Wyoming and had not been in Pass Christian for more than a year. According to his statement, he was grieving Nolan's death and hoped the investigation would ultimately reveal the facts. He concluded by thanking those who had reached out with their support. Whether that statement settles the questions surrounding his name is a matter for investigators and the evidence. However, his appearance in Warren's interview prompted many people to revisit publicly available records to better understand why his name had surfaced at all. One of the documents drawing renewed attention is the official sworn Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, MDMR Marine Patrol report. The report classified the incident as a non-criminal missing person case at the time it was filed. According to the report, the initial notification was received by telephone at 10:05 a.m. on July 5, 2026. The report identifies two individuals as involved parties. The first is 21-year-old Bart Joseph Edmiston Jr. The second is Jerry Ralph Atkinson, who is identified as Wyatt's grandfather and the owner of the boat involved in the incident. The inclusion of those names in the report has generated additional public interest, particularly after Warren's interview brought Bart Edmiston into the spotlight. While being listed in an official report does not by itself imply wrongdoing, it does explain why observers have begun examining the document more closely as they continue to piece together the timeline and understand everyone's connection to the events surrounding Nolan Wells' disappearance.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said that Jerry, yeah. He said,
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now.
In one of our earlier videos, we examined the GPS data from Jerry Atkinson's boat, the vessel that carried Nolan, Warren, and Wyatt back from the island. That GPS information helped establish part of the boat's movements on the day of the incident and raised additional questions about the timeline. During the released audio, several names can be heard, including Will, Bart, and what appear to be the voices of two women. Those references have led many viewers to ask how Bart Edmiston fits into the broader sequence of events. According to publicly discussed information, investigators obtained GPS data from Bart Edmiston's boat after he allowed them access to it. However, unlike the GPS records associated with Jerry Atkinson's boat, those coordinates have not been publicly released, at least based on the information currently available. That lack of publicly available data has fueled speculation about where Bart's boat traveled and whether its movements could help clarify the timeline. Another point that has drawn attention is the repeated trips to Port Bayou reflected in other available records. Some observers have speculated that those trips may have some connection to Bart because he reportedly lives relatively close to Port Bayou, roughly a mile away by boat, and has access to a private boat launch. At this stage, however, that remains speculation rather than an established fact. The questions become even more significant if Bart arrived or departed on a different boat. If that was the case, investigators would naturally want to understand who was on each vessel, when they arrived, where they traveled, and how those movements fit into the overall timeline. One moment from the released audio has attracted particular attention. A voice can be heard saying, "Damn it, Bart, he's mother-freaking dead, dude." The identity of the speaker, the exact context of the statement, and precisely what prompted the remark have all become subjects of public discussion. Without additional evidence or official clarification, those questions remain unresolved. Even so, the recording has become another piece of evidence that many people are analyzing as they continue searching for answers about what happened to Nolan Wells.
What'd you say?
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Say his name! Nolan Wells! Say his name! Nolan Wells! What do we want? Justice! Say his name! Nolan Wells! His name!
As this case continues to unfold, many people believe there are still critical questions that remain unanswered. Public interest has only intensified as new interviews, documents, audio recordings, and witness statements continue to emerge. For many observers, the hope is that the investigation will eventually provide a complete and transparent account of what happened to Nolan Wells. Some commentators have argued that arrests should already have been made, while others believe investigators should continue gathering evidence before reaching any conclusions. Ultimately, decisions regarding arrests or criminal charges rest with law enforcement and prosecutors, who must determine whether the available evidence meets the legal standard required to move forward. One thing is clear: this case has generated an extraordinary amount of online attention. Independent researchers, journalists, content creators, and members of the public have spent countless hours reviewing timelines, analyzing released documents, examining GPS records, and listening to newly released audio in an effort to better understand the events surrounding Nolan's disappearance and death. That level of public engagement has undoubtedly kept the case in the spotlight. At the same time, online analysis should complement, not replace, the official investigative process. The responsibility for determining the facts, evaluating the evidence, and deciding whether criminal charges are warranted ultimately belongs to the authorities handling the case. As new information becomes available, we will continue to follow the developments closely, compare new evidence with what is already known, and present the facts as accurately and fairly as possible. If you've stayed with me to this point, thank you. It tells me you're interested in understanding the facts rather than simply reacting to headlines. By subscribing, you're joining a community that values careful analysis, respectful discussion, and a commitment to following the evidence wherever it leads. Every new document, interview, or official development could change our understanding of this case, and I'll continue bringing you timely updates so you don't have to piece everything together on your own. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is the perfect time to do it. Now I'd like to hear from you. After reviewing everything that's been released so far, what questions do you still have about the Nolan Wells case? Which pieces of evidence do you believe deserve closer examination? Share your thoughts and perspectives in the comments below, and let's continue the conversation respectfully as we follow this investigation together.